Hello everybody, and welcome to part 2 of the E-Space Trilogy, featuring State of Decay! Or I'm not going to do the stupid voice the whole time. So, heading into these classic Doctor Who serials for the first time, I generally don't tend to have much in the way of trivia knowledge. Like, I don't have any cool facts to share. Mostly, I rely on you, the viewers, to fill me in on that sort of thing. But I just so happen to be one of the few people that have discovered a direct reference to this story in a previous Doctor Who serial. That's right, State of Decay was actually set up in the infamous unfinished serial T.A.R.D.I.S. Now, before you go getting all excited, let me just quickly answer the question that is no doubt burning away at you right now. Oh, Dirvinator? What's the connection? Well, in T.A.R.D.I.S, a character just says it.
ASD, Advanced State of Decay? What?
Sorry about that. I thought it sounded a lot funnier in my head. Let's just move on and pretend that didn't happen now, shall we?
We're in the 80s.
Note to self, if you're going to do a spit take for a gag, make sure you put a towel down first. State of Decay is another 4-part serial from late 1980 that continues where Full Circle left off, with the Doctor, Romana and K9 stranded in Exo-Space. Think of it as a world between worlds, or a little less Kingdom Hearts, so like a dimension between dimensions. Oh, yeah, and Adric's there too. Why does he walk with a little penguin waddle? This time, the TARDIS brings them to another inhabited world inside this mysterious E-space, in an attempt to find assistance in escaping. But what they discover is a new breed of terror, and as they fight for their lives, they soon discover that some things are best left lost. At least that's how I'd describe it if this serial was in any way exciting, which it's not. No, unfortunately, State of Decay is exactly what I feared that a lot of Season 18 was going to be, especially judging by so many of my viewers' comments. Seriously, do any of you folks like Season 18? Anyways, there's some less than subtle hints and clues as to what the royals of this small society truly are. But even then, the best part about this whole thing is probably the little breadcrumbs fed to the viewers, daring us to piece things together before it's revealed. And while the King and Queen might not be the most interesting of characters, their uncanny, synchronized movements give them a suitably unsettling vibe. Look, I know some of you have questioned why I even bother trying to avoid spoilers in some of my reviews, but not others. Honestly, it's a very personal case-by-case basis. For the most part, if I can't think of anything interesting or constructive to say about a certain plot point, leaving things ambiguous and encouraging viewers to watch it for themselves is a bit easier. Sure, I'll admit it's a get-out-of-jail-free card, but I try my best not to do that for dreadful stories, like The Mutants, where I don't recommend anyone go and watch ones like that. So getting back on topic, I will not be discussing the main villain's creatures' obstacles here, but I will say that it's a bit of a fun twist on an established idea. Or, not fun twist, because that would give the impression that this is in any way exciting. I feel like it would be cliche and untrue to call this moody and gothic because of some of its subject matter, but I reckon saying that is a bit of a cop-out. It has its visual style, and I can see some people liking what it has going for it, but truth be told, I didn't find it to be anything special. With better pacing, this could very well be a decent set of episodes. However, as it is, it does drag in some aspects. My goodness, I put this on because it was thinner than wearing a hoodie, but it's so hot! Getting back to what I was saying, like, the overall plot is interesting enough, but it just seems like they didn't have enough content to fill out the whole runtime So every single conversation just seems to have too many extra lines added to it. So often, for example, a short dialogue exchange will occur, which could have been quick and concise, but instead of just getting to the point and moving on, a character will make an observation, then walk to a new spot and make the same observation, then do it again, and then the plot will finally progress. It just gets a bit monotonous after a while. Once I noticed it, I could not stop being distracted by the excessive filler dialogue. Right, you go do this thing, and I'll do that thing. No, I'll do that thing, you do this thing. Right. What is that thing? Like, just stop! Every scene has a few extra lines added to it that don't add anything. Not story, not exposition, not comedy, just fluff. Oh, and I had no idea how I was going to transition into this point, or even how I was going to talk about it. Almost like the thing I'm going to talk about itself. But there's a random, coincidental scene explaining how random copies of a random book written by Rassilon himself were randomly being stored in certain time vehicles that just so happened to be Type 40. Wow! What a coincidence! As we all know, the TARDIS just so happens to be a Type 40 time vehicle. What are the odds? This conversation came out of nowhere in a completely separate and unrelated scene. And honestly, I just thought it was an overly specific throwaway line that might come into play later on in the season. But no, it is plot relevant. And okay, look, I know this might sound hyperbolic, but believe me when I say that this has to be the worst plot contrivance in all of Doctor Who. You can call me out for being wrong, that's fine, this might not be the worst, but to me, at the very least, this is the biggest piece of contrived storytelling that I've seen in the entirety of the show. And it's in such an innocuous episode in the middle of season 18. But seriously, just think about how amateur this is. I knew this squishy TARDIS stress toy would come in handy one day. Here's an alien race of killer chipmunks. Hey, I happened to work in a vet clinic back in the day, and I heard that the great Dave wrote a book on small creatures. And he went on to hide some copies of his book in toasters from 50 years ago, but only one specific brand and model of toaster, and only some of them had copies of the book hidden in it. Oh, what's this? You just so happen to have that exact make and model of obscure toaster, and what's this? It has a copy of the secret book inside it? Hooray! The day is saved! Heck, me, Wills, and TK had better imagination when we were 5 years old playing in the backyard pretending we were Transformers. Oh, sorry. Got a bit heated there. I promise I don't hate this one. Even if it does go back to the worn-out cliche of ritualistic sacrifices. Okay, maybe this one is just a terrible serial and I'm cutting it too much slack. That stupid contrived book does provide a smidgen of interesting lore about these spoilers and what the Time Lords did to these spoilers. Maybe I should just wrap this up. I honestly didn't think I had much to say about it because I didn't really think anything of it. I can't say it bored me, but it certainly didn't hold my attention. All I'll say is I almost hated Adric's guts until it was revealed that he was actually just playing along, so just kidding. Romana was fine, the Doctor was alright, all hail K9, the end. Oh yeah, and also Tom Baker and Lana Ward got married the day the final episode aired. Wait, what? I really didn't realise how bad some elements of this serial actually were until I began writing them down. Hopefully the Warrior's Gate will be a lot better and cap off this trilogy on a high note. Please don't put books in toasters.
Wow, this book is fascinating.